All right, this is the official beginning. Yay. Congratulations, we already made it. And that was, 20 minutes of BS? So welcome to another episode of Back Talk with Bauer. I am Josh JBauerart, the host of this shit show. And I'd like to welcome you all to this, what episode am I on? Episode 8. There we go. I wrote it down. Good for me.
And I know that one. I was watching.
And I got Christian making fun of me in my ear. But welcome, everybody. Hello, Terry. All the people, amazing people watching on Facebook Live. If you are tuning in for the first time and have no idea what's going on, if you're listening to just the audio version, I do this every Tuesday night usually at 7. We'd had to do 7:30 for my special guest tonight. But I go live, I do an hour show, and I talk to somebody creative, somebody that's doing things, entertains me, friends of mine, whoever I can bug and bribe enough to get onto this show. Before we get into the actual episode, I officially have a sponsor. I didn't think it was possible, but my awesome brother, my youngest brother, Corey, offered to be a sponsor for this show. He doesn't have really anything going on for himself or like anything to plug himself. So we came up with the awesome idea of plugging a charity every month. It's going to be a new charity, brand new, every month. And this time he picked Hope for the Warriors. So I wrote some quick things down to talk about them. So they help vets. They do. They help with clinical health and wellness, urgent, long-term, for vets and families. Transition services. So from going to combat to home, to station, even from military life to civilian, they're there to help. They also do sports and recreation, which is programs to help reintroduce sports into warriors that are injured or trying to get them into athletes again, to help them out in a variety of different ways. They also help injured vets with adaptive equipment. And 90.1% of every dollar you give to Hope for the Warriors helps service members, veterans, and their families restore self, family, and hope. Please head over to hopeforthewarriors.org to donate or volunteer. So a big shout out to Hope for the Warriors. They will be the month of June's charity that we are sponsoring. And a huge thank you and big appreciation to my youngest brother, Corey, for being the first sponsor to Back Talk with Bauer. So I greatly appreciate it. Now on to the main event. This guy, we'll have to ask how long we've known each other because it feels like a very long time. I'm not even sure. But if you are Dr.
We're kind of like the relatives that only meet over at the reunion and just like, hi.
Exactly. Yes, so I'm going to bring him on.
Bye.
Here he is, the amazing Christian from Legends of the Traveling Tardis. Welcome, sir. Let me make sure. There we go. Now we're all fancy again, learning all the buttons and doing all the things. But a big thank you and welcome to Christian for agreeing to join this shit show. That's going to be the first shirt.
Speaking of making fun of you, just because when I heard you started doing podcasting, I'm like, dude, get off my lawn. Why are you in my territory? So in honor of you, sir, I have made a specific drawing. It took all but about 20 seconds. It was very crafted, very detailed. You can't see that probably too well. That is Mr. Bauer himself. That's my stick figure art that I'm going to be starting now at conventions. I will be selling them very cheaply.
Well, I got to do something with myself. I'm not allowed. We weren't allowed to leave the house. Nobody wanted to buy artwork before all this crap happened. They really don't have the money for it now, so I had to figure out some way to entertain myself.
There you go.
And I don't talk Doctor Who, so we're all good.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair.
Yeah, see, this is going to be a very interesting show because, in all honesty, I do not watch Doctor Who. My wife got into it for a good while. She watched a good.
Oh, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm
gone. He's gone. He quits. No, but I've watched a few episodes here and there. I just have never been able to get into it. So I'm actually very interested in chatting with you to kind of get a better understanding what your show is about, what goes on, and what got you. I don't even know how long you've been doing the show. So that's the first question. How long have you been doing Legends of the Traveling Tardis?
I would say, good God, Jody started 2017 October. My show premiered. The Legend of the Traveling Tardis radio show premiered the Saturday before Jodie Whittaker, and I think that was back in October of 2017.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, or 2018. So this year will be the second year.
Okay.
It's not my first rodeo on doing podcasts. I've done other ones. The last one I did, which was very enjoyable. Unfortunately, it was just time zones. I had a good friend. Unfortunately, he doesn't do the show anymore. But Ian Shaw, he did a Gallifrey Stands podcast, which is a podcast between me and him, which we called ourselves the brothers over the island, over the river, whatever that thing is, because he was in the UK, I was in the US. Now the problem with that is we have a 5-hour difference, so trying to schedule anything was a nightmare, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out. It was a great show to be on. We had some wonderful topics. It just didn't pan out just to do time frame, especially if he was booking guests,
right?
And like right now, if I were to interview, which we've done quite a few interviews recently, go figure. Right now it's 5 hours in the future, so it is what 12:38 a.m.
Right
in the UK. So some of those guests have been very blessed to stick around out there. But Christian, let's go back to the question in hand. What do you do? So want to go back to the very beginning?
Remember, it's only an hour show. But no, go,
the Cliff Note version.
Yeah. But no,
okay, like when 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 years ago, I bought a Tardis online on Amazon for the laughable purpose, where at that point it was a laughable and it was a hobby. And I came up with the idea of putting a Facebook page together for taking this TARDIS to places where the Doctor doesn't go. And I know you don't know Doctor Who there. Do you at least know the basics?
I think I got a pretty good handle of the basics. Yeah, I've watched.
Gotcha.
The wife binge watched it for like 4 or 5 seasons, so I got like the peripheral vision, and I got a pretty and with going with the conventions and everything too. Yeah, kind of osmosis thing.
Okay. So 8 years ago, I bought a TARDIS. It's not this one, unfortunately. I just have the example. The actual traveling TARDIS is in Tampa. It's been in lockdown for 3 months with my friend Melanie Dean, who's the director and co-host of the show.
Oh, gotcha.
She took it somewhere, and she took it to the UK to get some pictures of the TARDIS, go figure, in the United Kingdom itself. I didn't want to pass up the opportunity. Oh, yeah. She took it, brought it back, and as soon as that all happened, we went in lockdown. And that TARDIS has been sitting at her house ever since.
Of course.
And every episode, she's taunting me, going like, "Oh, I still have your TARDIS here." I'm like, "Oh." It's not even traveling. It's like sitting in lockdown TARDIS. So after a while, I started talking to people, meeting people at conventions, taking pictures of cosplayers. That was the one thing. It was cosplayers just, getting to get around to people. Then celebrities started happening. And then all of a sudden, everybody who started talking to me, I don't know, for one reason or another, they said, "I think you should be talking about Doctor Who, but not just here, not just between you and me. You should be paneling in us." So at the time, a friend of mine named Ken Spivey, I don't know if you've ever heard his name.
Yes.
He ran the Doctor Who conventions called Time Lord Fest, God rest his soul, in Tampa and in Jacksonville. And at that time, the first Time Lord Fest took place in Orlando. And he asked me to come on and host a panel with 4 other people. And the topic was vampires and Doctor Who.
Okay.
Which there was only one episode of vampires and Doctor Who, with the exception of, a long story short, there's only like 1.5 episodes of vampires and Doctor Who, so I got to explain this within 1 hour. It's a very short topic. It would be like you explaining how to put Legos together in 1 hour, and just like, click, click, click. So it was like, okay, but I did my best, and apparently Ken was happy about it because he brought me back to do other Time Lord Fest when he moved it to Tampa, and I was on radio shows, and the last one being Gallifrey Stands. And after I departed with Ian, our good friend Garrett Palmacher, at that time, I had moved over to his show, the Hangin with web show.
Right.
And I was co-host for a while. And after I had gotten let go from Gallifrey Stands, Garrett just basically pulls me over to the corner and goes, "I think it's time." And I go, "What the hell are you talking about?" He goes, it's time for you to have your own radio show. I'm like, no, I've been, I think I'm kind of done. I'll just stay here and be a co-host. He goes, no, with all that information you've got in your head, if I don't use it, I'm trying to remember what exactly was said. You've got all that potential in your head. And if I don't have you talk about it, I have got so much. I've got, you've got this potential sitting around doing nothing,
Right.
And so all of a sudden, so the day that Jodie Whittaker premiered, who's the 13th Doctor, I'm hoping I don't have to explain to everybody what Doctor Who is to make all this sense. But after the day before she premiered, we premiered, and that was the discussion. What do we think about Jodie Whittaker being the first female Doctor, and in its 50 some odd year history, taking over? And after that, it's just been a rocket ride. It's really been skyrocketing like crazy. Facebook pages. I don't want to gloat the number.
No, you're good, man.
You've seen it.
Be proud of it.
Yeah, I am. It's just like we're climbing up to 35,000 subscribers. The Facebook page alone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that little blue box has a fan base,
right?
Just like you. But it's. I'm like, where in the world do you get 35,000 people liking a piece of metal that just takes pictures with people and places and just? But I guess it's entertaining.
Well, I have to say
now the legend.
Yeah, I have to say, when it comes to if you guys are not familiar with the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS and the picture-wise with the cosplayers, that's always been my favorite part. I always love when you go to another show or another convention, and that's how I've known you. I think that's how I first remember you, is seeing you taking the TARDIS around to people and taking these cool and unique pictures, and they were always very unique. And some are just basic things, they're holding them and kind of. But then you kind of let people be creative, or you be creative, and I've seen so many different ways of that TARDIS being in a picture with and it's not just Doctor Who, it's everybody, anything you can think of, anime, Marvel, DC, the goofier the better, and they do it in such unique ways. I've seen people fight over it. I've seen one person holding it and a whole bunch of people dead around them because it was the big bad villain or something. I mean, it's been very fun and unique.
Who's our friend that runs MILF? Jason Burgos.
Yes, Jason.
He was over. They were doing that spoof on the Wayne family. Anytime that Batman would show up, they would drop dead and go, "Son," and they would drop to the floor.
Right.
And at one point, they did drop to the floor, and then I gave. I don't know who she was, but I gave whoever was playing Martha Wayne the TARDIS to hold in her hand.
I remember that one.
Just on the floor. Yeah, it's what it used to, like I said, it just started off as a hobby. I would take pictures with it, and then I got celebrities involved.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I said, it just can't be hold and pose. I got to have some fun with this, because a lot of people were enjoying it. That there was not just, okay, I'm going to take a TARDIS, hold it, and they actually would come up with their own story, or use their cosplay to make a story with it.
Right.
And they would make the TARDIS a part of it. So that's where, from the very beginning, the word "the legend" comes from, because this thing has been a legend in its own right, and I can't dispute it. It's not with me right now. It's been a rise in the last 8 years.
And to answer a question from the Facebook live feed, and it's not a stupid question, it's a totally good question. Alfred Pennyworth asks, but is the TARDIS thing a phone booth? It is not. It is a police box, technically, right?
It's a police box, yes.
And now what...
Yeah. Bill and Ted have a phone booth.
Yeah, Bill and Ted are a phone booth. Now, what exactly for those, because I know there's some younger ones, and I kind of know what a police box is, but I'm sure you have a better explanation for it. So what is technically a police box?
A police box, if I remember correctly, because I've kind of, in my 40-year-old mind, have lost the definition over time. A police box was way back when, because they didn't have police cars in the UK, so they had no way of holding their prisoner when the police came and caught them.
Okay.
So they had police boxes that they would put him in, and not only that, but right here is where the telephone would be. For those of you who are watching on the live feed, they would call up other police people, meet them at the box. They would lock the prisoner inside until the other police came up, and they would escort him to the police station. So that's how the police boxes work.
Okay.
And the little light on top, I believe, meant that the prisoner was inside, or there was a prisoner inside. If I'm not mistaken, I could be completely wrong. If somebody wants to write that,
I like
with me.
it. We're gonna go with
Google
that one.
it, for crying out loud.
That's what it is on Back Talk with Bauer. We're not changing it. So don't Google it. Don't give us the right answer, because I love this answer. Well, now,
so that's the best way. But yeah.
So now how long did you do the photograph stuff? Was it a year, 2 years? How long was that with? Because I know you're still doing it,
8
but
years.
How long? 8 years?
Yeah.
Damn.
8 years.
Because I remember seeing you around a good few times. Because I'm trying to think how long. Because I've like met you a couple of times, and we like would run into each other. Because I mean, there's Florida conventions. There's one every other weekend anymore. But we would kind of run into each other here and there. Kind of knew each other, and then we started knowing each other better once you started working with Hanging With, and so did I. I think that's how it worked.
Yeah.
So
Garrett is convention hub central when it comes to us in the Central Florida area.
Oh yeah.
So
now,
but yeah, I started 8 years ago.
Wow.
Like I said, it was just a hobby. It was just to take picture of people. And I wish I could share screen with you, but I mean I can read off some of the names of people. Just the most eclectic, not just people who worked in the show. I've got Jack Hanna. Yeah, Jungle Jack Hanna holding the traveling TARDIS. He was at SeaWorld. I'm trying to see some people. Lloyd Kaufman. I don't know if you're familiar with his work. Karen Allen from Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Trilogy from the June series. Looking here, Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters. Because I'm just looking this up right here.
Oh yeah.
Trying to see. Oh God, I can't think of his name. It's inconceivable.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of his name from the Princess Bride. And I'll kick myself later for not knowing it because I should. Wallace Shawn. That's what I was trying to get. Wallace Shawn.
Now, did a lot of
Kevin Sorbo.
Did a lot of these celebrities know the TARDIS? Did they know what they were holding? That's what I was figuring.
Some of them had no clue what they were doing. They were just like taking a picture of a blue box, and some of them were very, very impressed with like, oh my god. Have you ever seen the show Hellevator?
Not that I can think of.
It's on the game. It's a game show network. It's done by two sisters. They act evil, and eventually the name says it all. It's a game show where these people go into an elevator, they come out, and there's this haunted task that they have to do. Sometimes it's gross and stuff like that. They're known as the Soka sisters, and they jumped up and down when I pulled out the TARDIS. They are big fans, and like one of them had a picture on her phone as she was dressed up as Missy, who is if you're not familiar with it, she plays the Master in Doctor Who. It's the female version of the Master. But yeah, just I'm counting. I'm looking right now at the number of celebrities. It's just countless. Barry Bostwick.
And I have to say, the TARDIS that you're carrying around is actually pretty heavy and sturdy. Like I saw it for a good while, but I never touched it. And then we were somewhere, and I grabbed the thing to like just pick it up and move it, or I was doing something with it, and I'm like, damn, that's got some weight to it. You could now. I will say, if you ever get into trouble and need a weapon, you got that. You can just crack somebody in the skull with that thing, and you're good to go.
Oh, I've taken it to Halloween Horror Nights. And as crazy as it sounds, I've actually been stopped at security quite a few times, and people are going like, well, this could be used as a weapon. I'm like, yeah.
Technically, anything could be, if you know how to use stuff right.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a symbol, a representation of it, like me taking a cross and beating people with it. I'm just like, this is supposed to be a symbol of peace and tranquility and harmony and everything. And the last thing I want to do, first of all, if I ever go into that realm where I'm using it in that form, you did something completely wrong at that time. There is no way I would ever do that ever unless you've done something wrong there. Right. So, but yeah, people were always like, oh my gosh, it's heavy. And I was like, yeah, well, if I didn't have it, if I had like a piece of plastic or this little guy right here,
right,
it wouldn't even last like 5 days. It would be smashed up, and I would have to have like 100 of them. And it always had to be the original one. There have been plenty of traveling TARDISes for my friends who posted on the Facebook page, but there's always the one original that started it all. So.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. If that was just the only one, if that's the original. So you've kept that thing through the whole 8 years of doing this?
Yes.
Except for
And
this
believe
exact
me,
moment.
and believe me, somebody asked, said, if you lost your wallet or the traveling TARDIS, which one would go? And I said, that wallet. I don't really need a driver's license to go home now, do I? It's just like, that TARDIS is everything. That TARDIS has been through everything. That it's got to be the original. And
Wow.
there have been conventions going like, well, we can't. There have been conventions who've invited the TARDIS, not me, the TARDIS. And I'm like, we're a package deal. If the TARDIS goes, I go. And he goes, no, we just want your TARDIS. I'm like, you don't know. It would literally be like
Jeez.
shipping a baby over to the convention.
Right.
And trusting whoever it got to be not only honest, but to send it back and not have any problem. Like, no,
There's
this is
no
my
way in
baby.
hell. I've seen how people run conventions.
Exactly.
There's no way in hell. Yeah.
And don't think I haven't lost it a couple of times. And our good friend Amelia Poole,
The
Harlequin
amazing
Arts,
Amelia.
yeah, she's taken it. Which I do you still have that picture?
Yes.
Do you still have the paint?
I still have
Yeah,
the
okay.
painting. It's actually in the other room. I still have that painting. For those that don't know, Christian and I worked on a painting. Christian and Amelia and I all worked on a painting idea for myself. We were at Sci-Fi Bartow a few years back, and Christian and Amelia were taking some really cool pictures with her Catwoman outfit, and then the TARDIS, of course. And they did some really cool pictures in the back areas. Bartow has really cool places to take some pictures of cosplay and
Yeah.
everything. And he posted up this one, and I'm like, I just have to do a painting of that. So I got connected with both of them. Now, I did make Christian a little mad, because in the picture, Amelia is holding the TARDIS directly in her hands, and it's a tiny little TARDIS. And when I wanted to do it, he wanted the TARDIS as the original thing, and I know how people work in trying to sell the artwork, and some people would just not get it. So I changed the TARDIS to a jewel cat, so it made more sense for the character herself. And then I wouldn't have to spend every convention describing what the TARDIS is, why she's holding it, and blah blah blah. But I did make sure to put in the TARDIS in the background in some graffiti stuff, so it was still in there. But yeah, we had Christian and I had a nice little chat after I debuted that painting.
Well, you were, and I apologize for that thereafter, because you were at the tail end of something else that happened at that same time, which was driving me nuts. I don't know. I'll explain there. I took a picture of Peter Capaldi. It's one of the best and probably the most recognized pictures of the traveling TARDIS. It's him with the TARDIS like this. He's holding it up like this, and he's doing that.
And then his weird stare thing that he has.
Yeah. And I wish I could send it to you. Well, I could send it. Well, we show it later there. But the thing is that somebody had taken that picture and made it into a beautiful painting.
Right.
Not only did they make it into a beautiful painting, but they added into the TARDIS. There's a scene where the TARDIS is shrinking. One of the episodes called Flatliners, which Capaldi's in. So the shrinking TARDIS had a little Capaldi coming out of it. And I'm just sitting there going like, I just want a little credit.
Right.
Just put us, and I'm like, I don't even know who the painter was. How would you even know that I might even buy the thing? Because I was just so blown away by it. And if anybody can show me where the artist is, I'd just like to talk to him. I'm not going to be mean. I'm just going, hey, can you give me a little credit about this? And then also, you know what? If you give me a little postcard version of it, I'd be happy. But there was a painting going around. So I was just like, I was kind of getting, like I said, you were on the tail end of the bad thing that was going on at the time. And it's not the first time people have taken my pictures and used them or memed them or something. But it's just like, just give me a little credit. That's all I'm asking. Just have people come to my site and just show them, because it is meant to be shared and loved. But I would just like, just say, hey, by the way, Christian took that picture. That's where and a lot of people have been very, very kind about it for the most part. But it's just like one or two people just like, okay, all right, fine. Gotcha. Really? Okay. That's all I needed. Little credit.
So back to your show, back to the Legends of the Traveling TARDIS. So the podcast has been going on, you said, a year, correct? Year or two?
It's going on its second year when it hits October this year. Yeah.
So do you know offhand how many episodes you guys have done already?
We're either approaching or have hit 80 something. See, we've been ever since we've done the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're kind of backlogged.
Oh,
So
okay.
we've been I know these names don't probably sound familiar, but we've when we started to do the live streams, all of a sudden we started having celebrities come out who were
Oh,
part
wow.
of the show. We had Katie Manning, Tim Treloar, who does the Third Doctor and the Big Finish audios. We've had Annette Bedland, we've had Richard Ashton, we've had Russ Mullins, we had John Davey. And we started doing the live show, which we record live, and then we send it to the then we take the audio and send it to iHeartRadio and all those guys.
Right.
And I would say we're like 5 or 6 episodes behind right now. I would say we're easily in the 80s. So yeah, those episodes audio wise haven't come out now. This weekend we're having an interview live with Colin Spall, who was actually not only in Classic Who but in New Who within the first Cybermen episodes in the New Who. But it's just like, okay, I didn't expect that to happen. I was expecting like, we're going to have everything once a week. Then we'll just take the audio and move it for people who just want to listen to it on iHeart or Apple Podcasts, all those entities. But now we're like behind.
Right.
So it actually stretches out the content. The celebrity will record 1 week, and then 3 weeks later, their episode will come out, and then we'll talk about it again. So
Right.
it's been a wild ride, dude.
That's awesome, though. That's awesome. So you're on like pretty much all the podcast things. We got iHeartRadio, we got Apple, Google,
Google,
Spotify,
radio.com,
radio.com.
Spotify, radio.com.
And then you're also
pretty much. Yeah, go ahead.
and
Sorry.
you're also on Krypton Radio, right? Or is
We're on Krypton Radio. Yeah, that gives us the radio moniker because we're actually on the radio station. For those of you who want to check it out, KryptonRadio.com. It is, I think we can safely say it's the only existing geek 24-hour radio. So if you're
Yes.
somebody who works a third shift at your job and you just want to listen to geek music because you can, KryptonRadio.com, it plays everything: Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, anything geekdom, Indiana Jones, everything, the Lord of the Rings, any music audio-wise, and then they have the talk shows that come out.
Yep.
And ours comes out, drops every Saturday.
Well, and you have that's the same place where the Indie Music Spotlight drops too, correct? Do I have that right?
I think
There's so much. Everybody has so much stuff. I have no idea where half of it goes.
Ever since I did my own show, I've been. I don't want to be like I said. There's so much contact within the HWWS. You and I are in part of this big family. Nobody knows really when I explain. It's like, what's with the Hanging with Web thing, and like, you got 10 minutes because I really just can't explain it it's like explaining Doctor Who in 5 minutes. I can't.
Right.
I gotta pull up the YouTube. I gotta show you this: the Orlando Wizard, the Saturday morning cartoons, the JBauerart, my show, the Hanging With show, the indie music. I would just like, there's just, if you just subscribe, you have something for everybody. And so this family is huge. This family is creative. This family is fun. This family is enjoyable.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so
it definitely is a wide range of things. I mean, between the two shows that are together in this episode right now, I mean, I'm just a guy that hops on, shit talks, and causes a bunch of problems as much as possible. You do the same thing, but you're in the Doctor Who universe. It's kind of, they're both podcasts, they're both interviewing a bit, but it's very different stuff. And that's just two of the, I think, a dozen shows that are part of the Hanging with Web show family. So you can go to the HWWS WebTV YouTube channel to catch everybody.
Yes.
And there's something new that drops like every day or multiple things every day. So go check them out. So, hey, Belinda, how are you?
You actually have talent, though. I think you're one of the few that, the KitchenKillaz and you guys actually have your own talent. I just talk. That was the thing. Is Garrett knows that if somebody walks into a room and says, I want to talk to you about Doctor Who, I'll be here for an hour. What do you need?
Well, the talent is good, but it only gets you to certain places, too. I mean, I've been warring for 7 years trying to get the artwork going and that things, and I've been beating my head against the wall for 7 years. So that's why I've switched to this podcast thing, because I have been working with Hanging with Web Show and doing different things like that, and being a co-host once in a while for Hanging with Web Show, kind of felt like I had,
Right.
a couple people are like, "You're actually pretty good at it." I'm like, "Well, okay, we'll try making a podcast." And I'm kind of just, I can't go and see my friends anyway, so I might as well bug them on the internet and record it. And
Which Corey does now. Let's just make it live for everybody to see.
yeah,
Which I've improved my art. I actually put a hat on my stick figure, so
there you
we've
go.
upgraded
Looks
since.
just like me. Just looks like me. Let's see. I wrote all kinds of questions on here. So how?
Oh God, you got to list you one of those.
I will forget everything, or I'll forget my place, and it'll just turn into the mess. So I'm sure you have a ton of them, but what is one of the coolest moments that you've had, either with a celebrity or at a convention or something like that, with the TARDIS and with the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS?
Oh gosh. Wow, you only have an hour, right?
Yeah.
At this point, a half hour. The I don't want to be a cop out, but ever since the lockdown, we've had more celebrities come on, and I don't want to be going and saying, well, I love every episode that we've done. We've had some really great celebrities on the ones I mentioned. I don't want to put one over the other because not only do we appreciate that they came on, everybody's got a story, everybody's got something wonderful to tell, everything's got something interesting, and it's lovely to have them on the show.
Right.
Having said that, we just recently had Katie Manning and Tim Treloar. Now, for those of you who know who those people are, Tim Treloar, the third Doctor, John Pertwee, had passed away back in 1996. And when they decided to do Big Finish, they wanted to do the third Doctor. Tim Treloar was tapped. He sounds... you could imagine John Pertwee being emulated by this guy just by his voice. You could feel the mannerisms. You could see him moving around by how Tim Treloar does it. And then Katie Manning, who plays Jo Grant in the third Doctor series, I asked her, I said, what brought you to this? Does he sound anything like? Because I hadn't heard it yet. And she goes, darling, if he didn't sound anything like John, I would have never done it. So I'm like, okay. Having said all that, I came up with this idea that, because we interviewed Katie Manning twice, and I said, we were going to interview Tim Treloar, but I said, you know what? Let's have a celebrity. Let's have one of the talents that have been on Doctor Who be on the panel asking questions to Tim. So I decided to go Katie, and I was like, oh God, that's going to be a long shot. She's going to come back. She came. Not only did she come back, we had a great time. And not only that, we had technical issues.
Oh.
The funniest part is, in this particular episode, Tim actually has Katie on the phone on FaceTime. So he has to put her up to the microphone so that she can ask questions.
Oh, man.
If you haven't had a chance, you're in for a treat. Even though you may not even watch Doctor Who,
right?
That episode is just fun. But like I said, every episode we've done has been just wonderful, and we actually went into topics that were kind of topics I kind of wanted to go into that I didn't think other shows went into at the time, and still going on. Anti-bullying in the Whoniverse. I mean, when they first brought on Jodie Whittaker, when she was first mentioned, my goodness.
Right.
I'm gonna be slightly honest on there. Twitter's become a dumpster fire. I can't even go on there without watching 20 people rip each other in my news feed. So how do you solve that problem? How can you talk to people who don't want to talk to you, or who just, if you say anything, they hate you right out of the block? And I said, no, we are going to be the anti-Twitter when we do this show. We're going to be having topics. I want everybody to have a say.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how strange or how weird it is their opinion, and it is to be respected. And I think, I don't want to use a political analogy, but I think this is the only best way I can do it. I wanted to be the Dave Rubin of podcasts when it came to Doctor Who, because I wanted every opinion to matter.
Right.
I wanted everybody to come out and say their piece in a professional and diplomatic way, that we could all have dinner together and all have a drink after everything was said and done.
Right.
Even if we disagreed, we heard each other out, and that's the most important thing. We've done this for reviews. We've done this for the anti-bullying. We talked about diversity. We talked about celebrities with disability, which they were tapping into, and they didn't really go anywhere with it. They kind of just stopped. Things that trying to think here. We were talking about COVID-19 and how it affected the Hooniverse as far as not only conventions,
Right.
but one of our panelists is actually one of the stars of Doctor Who. It's Simon Fisher Becker, who played Dorian Moldavar in the Matt Smith series, the 11th Doctor. He actually is on the panels too.
Right.
And I talked to him about his take, because you don't realize that the celebrities took a sucker punch when COVID-19 hit and the lockdown came.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have any work.
Right.
They have nowhere to go. So to do this thing now where we're doing interviews and we're doing things on our computers like CyberCon, wow, Garrett, good going, Garrett. That was amazing. That was fun. And congratulations to you, Amelia, Thomas, and everybody who helped out with that over there. That was just a wonderful endeavor. You guys did a great job. I was honored to be a part of that. That was wonderful.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
But am I just rambling on here? Yeah. Well, you got a podcast.
You're good, man. You're good.
Talking.
That's what podcasts are about. Well, so like, and talking about, so you've done a bunch of different episodes, and you kind of talked a little bit about what you've done in the episodes. So like, how do you figure out, what do you talk about? Because you've done 80 some episodes. I know there's a lot of Doctor Who to talk about. Do you talk about specific episodes sometimes from the show? Do you talk, what's more of some of the conversations or some of the topics in the episodes?
Oh yeah, first of all, we really don't seem to, with Doctor Who being around for 50 some odd years, we seem to have nothing to run out to talk about, because now Big Finish, for those of you who don't know about it, back in the 90s when Doctor Who went off the air, this little company called Big Finish started, and they started doing these audio plays with the actors from Doctor Who. There's more audio lined up than there is TV show, if you can imagine that.
Wow.
Just on Doctor Who, they would flesh out the Doctor stories, or flesh out certain companions, or flesh out stories that didn't have an appropriate ending, that kind of fell to the wayside. It was awesome, and they're still doing that to this moment. So just the audios alone we could be reviewing. We also review the new episodes when the new series hits in 2021, I think. That's when it's supposed to hit. Then we'll be reviewing that too. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Man. I'm so tired, and I don't, kind of part of my show is I don't talk about all that's going on in the world a ton, but I am so tired of hearing things getting pushed back right now. I want a new Marvel movie, and I'm so dying to see, Black Widow, I'm so dying to see it, and it just keeps, it's November now. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
But
I'm not getting any younger here.
Yeah, right? And I keep watching deep dives of all the Marvel stuff, because that's my main thing I'm into, is the Marvel movies and everything. So a lot of my YouTube channels that I watch are deep diving even more and rewatching stuff, and there's more and more questions and more ideas popping up that sounds so cool, and you're just I want to know what happens. Let's go. Let's get things started. But hopefully soon we will get at least something here.
Well, ever since they started opening up things, I've started going out to visit places. When they opened up City Walk, when they opened up, I will forever call it Downtown Disney, because that's what it is. That's another episode. And then, I was, my wife and I are annual pass holders to SeaWorld. So we went this past weekend, we went to Aquatica and SeaWorld when they started opening up. And
now, does Shamu wear a mask?
He should. Or is it a
awesome.
I can never tell.
It'd be awesome.
I haven't stared underneath the fin to look very much there. But I would also get razzed by people who were going like, "Are you kidding me? You went to Aquatica?" And I said, "You know what? To tell you the truth, I think Aquatica was out of all the theme parks might be the safest
Right.
because there is chlorine water, there is heat which would kill COVID instantly. So as long as people are doing the social distancing, you're fine, and
Right.
they're wearing masks when they're going inside the building." But I just like I'm seeing this more because people I think they're like, "Oh, you're just having a good time and stuff." And I said, "No, no, no. 77,000 people lost their jobs
Yep.
in a flash. All of them my friends
Yep.
and my wife." And I said, "I'm going back into these places because I want them to get their jobs back. I want to support. If it means me going in there and wearing a mask and doing the best I can to try to say, listen, we want you. I want my friends to come back and get their jobs and get things going. I know this is going to be slightly a new world for the time being. We never know what this virus is going to do, but I told people quietly, I said, we always hear the stories about what takes place outside the house.
Mm-hmm.
We never hear about how COVID does damage inside the house
Right.
because we never hear about the depression, the anxiety, the suicide, the drug taking, the domestic abuse. All those have spiked up.
Oh yeah.
And when I saw, and I won't say the name, but a person who I know on Facebook posted that his son had committed suicide because of depression being inside the house. And I said, we're not creatures we're not moles. We're not creatures that can just stay down. We have to go out. We have to communicate. We have to get in contact. I will be safe. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be running out there streaking or across downtown Disney.
Oh, we're not streaking? I thought we had that set and everything.
Shh, quiet down a second. We don't. That's for the next upcoming episode.
Oh, gotcha. That's the Patreon stuff there.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to pay for that sexy content.
But I'm not stupid. I'm doing everything that they say to do so I can protect the cast members as well. But I want them to get up and running as fast as I can.
Well, and I'm a guy that doesn't, I like staying home. I'm a guy, I'd rather stay home, and I don't like big crowds. I don't like, I go to conventions and do my selling of art stuff to try to sell art. Or when I was a fan, I went to go meet people or meet celebrities, get some artwork, and get the hell out. But even this, being locked down, and I haven't seen the Hanging with Web Show crew in person in 3 months. I mean, all of our convention friends, I haven't seen anybody, and it's even rough for me, for a person that doesn't like seeing people. So it's been rough, but that's another reason I started this thing, is so I could talk to people and still do some creative type stuff and because I was fighting depression and some stuff before all this started, and then getting locked down and not being able to do anything with my art. I just was having some stuff going with the artwork in April, and then it got all canceled, and it threw me off. So I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm making a podcast. Once I found out there was Be Live and I could, Be Live and now Ecamm, I'm like, all I gotta do is hit some buttons and we're good to go. And I've been learning new shit this whole time. I finally figured out how to get a podcast up on all the stuff. So yeah, it's been an interesting time, but I hope there's a lot of bad that's come out of it. But I also think there's a lot of learning and some good stuff here and there that has come out of all this shit. So hopefully, down the road we'll go, oh, well, we figured this out and we did this and more people got to do this. A lot of bad shit, but a lot of good shit too.
Yeah, are you going to Tampa Bay?
I am not. Next
month?
I am not doing any conventions this year. I just, personally for me, I'm going to try to start going to restaurants here soon. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe and a little bit of sketchy with that stuff. So I think I'll hold off on conventions. And I have to be careful with what I do with my wife because of her job. She's got to she's in the medical industry, so she can't go to certain things here and there. So yeah, I'm going to hold off on conventions for this year and maybe get back into them next year.
And that's respectable. I don't begrudge anybody who's holding on. Not in the same respect, I wish people wouldn't begrudge me if I'm going. It's not like I'm going to Tampa Bay and then I'm going to run to the first senior home and hug everybody that I find. I'm just like, we're going to be strict. I don't know if you saw the posting that I put up on on our Tampa Bay event. So I'm dead serious here. Let me see if I can find it. Well, I was trying to find it. We have two things of wipes just for the Tardis,
Right.
and there's going to be a set of rules applied. Anytime that somebody makes contact with the TARDIS, they actually have to sanitize their hands. We have to wipe it down. We give them the TARDIS, and they say, you can pose in any form, just please, whatever you do, don't try to put it up against your face or kiss it or anything like that,
Right.
where you can breathe on it. But I mean, however you want to pose with it, once you're done, we have to wipe it down again. I mean, that's how thorough we're going to be. I mean, I never dreamt the day that I would be doing that to the traveling TARDIS, but
this
here
is
we
one of
are.
those
So
things.
those are the
Yeah, this is one of those things that you kind of think about it too. It's like maybe we should have been doing that this whole time because there is.
You think?
Yeah, well, and there is concred. I mean, there is legit, and it's not even like you you can't say it like I'm sure it's some kind of flu or some kind of sickness that you get from conventions, but like half the time it's just this thing that you catch after a convention. We call it people in the thing call it con crud, and you just feel like shit afterwards. And I'm sure if we were wiping things down, sanitizing more, I mean, even like when I was selling the artists and stuff, I was, you don't know where people are coming from. You meet all kinds of people from
Exactly.
all ranges of life, and it just we should be wiping shit down more. So hopefully this is one of the good things that come out of all this. Is
No,
yeah, it's not
no
a bad
offense to
idea.
people who go to conventions, and this is not in particular to anybody, but convention attendees are not the most sanitary people in the world. Okay,
I smelled some
just
of
be
you
honest.
MFers. I know, just
Yeah,
by
yeah.
smell. Oh, some people are very nice, but
If I know you're walking into the room because I inhaled you, yeah, get out of here and take a shower, please.
oh
Deodorant,
man,
something, anything. I don't care if if I get that potpourri stuff that you push after you
Whew.
poop, spray yourself with. I don't care. I just, yeah.
It's
But
a rough
yeah,
smell
we're gonna have
too.
to look at it now.
So let's see. We got a little bit more time here. All right. So we'll do this. So in the COVID time and in this bullshit that we're in and trying to get out of it and everything, what's the future plans for the TARDIS and your show? Like, do you have a goal? Do you have certain things you want to hit? Because I'm always a guy that's like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to hit here and here and here. What's the goal for the show? Or are you just kind of winging it as you go?
I would like to say that I have a goal, but I think that goal is winging as I go. But I meant selfishly, we want to be the number one Doctor Who podcast radio show where everybody, when they want Doctor Who and the season's out, or they just want a good fix or be entertained, or people who may not be aware or know of the show come
Right.
to our show and be entertained. And one of the things that I wanted to, I guess, for a better term, implore to our team is like, I want this to be fun, because if we're feeling like it's work too much and we're starting to burn out, then we're not doing it right.
Yeah.
I want this to be as fun, because if you're having fun like we are right now, if we're having fun, if we're laughing and entertaining,
Right.
and the audience is going to have fun and laugh and entertain with us, because I think that's what all good podcasting is all about. Not only to entertain, to enlighten, but to make the audience feel like they've had an experience at the end of everything. So like, I want to hear the next episode after this is done.
Right.
I want to continue to listen on. So we're, as far as I know, on Facebook, I was counting that there's like 5.7 million Whovians on the actual Doctor Who Facebook page, and we're climbing up to 35,000. So we're almost there.
Yeah.
We're getting close. Might take another 8 years. But
So
something then.
I actually got these new cards, and you're going to be the first one to try them out with me. Are you down?
Okay.
So they're called.
The video's a little breaky. But,
we're breaking up again.
Okay.
So they're called.
It's a little breaky, but if you hold still, I'm fine.
Well, I'll read them to you, but it is. I just ordered these. They are pod decks, and they're the interview deck for podcasts. And I've got right now I am holding the interview deck, and then I've got a bunch of other ones. and I'm kind of giving them a try out, seeing how they are. And what I want to do is at the very least, pull a card out or two at the end of each show or towards the end of each show, and just toss some random
Okay.
questions to the guests. So we're going to try it out with you, sir. Are you down?
I'm down. I'm curious of what the pod decks are, but yeah, let's
So they're
jump
just
into the deep end. Let's see.
they're really cool questions. Like this company put like the interview deck is 50 unique conversation starting questions. So basically, it's a cool way to start a conversation. You'll ask the question and you
Oh,
maybe just answer that and then like kind of jump off some stuff. So yeah, the question
so
for
this
you.
Cards Against Humanity in reverse, something
these,
like that.
these are a
Are
lot
we in
cleaner.
trouble now?
These are a lot cleaner. I have a deck called Ask the Internet, and every question is dirty as shit on there. And
Bring that one out. I want that one.
I
That's the
saved
one
that.
that everybody wants to see here.
I'm actually saving those for Back Talk with Friends, the other show that I'm going to be doing once a month and gathering
Ah,
up, which I believe you offered to be on that show as well. So
I
I'm going to be gathering up
let's try.
a few different friends every month and at least doing one episode a month. So I'll be announcing that tomorrow on Wednesday on who's going to be a part of that this Saturday. But yeah, so your first question is, which band or artist, dead or alive, would play at your funeral?
Would play at my funeral.
Yeah, it's like if you wrote a will or whatever, and you got you got the choice of any band, dead or alive, to play at your funeral, who would you want to play?
Oh my gosh. I'm a big fan of Steely Dan and Pink Floyd. Now,
Okay.
half of Steely Dan is dead right now, so I'm
Well,
like,
we're
I
bringing
don't
them
know.
back as
They might be
zombies.
dead by the time I kick it. So,
We're bringing them back. It'll be the zombie edition. It'll be great. And then we could even bring you back, and it's all zombies partying. You know, I won't be there because I'm terrified of
exactly.
zombies. But yeah, we can make it happen. I'm trying to
I have
think
Pink
who what
Floyd
I
play
would want.
Comfortably Numb.
I'd have to go with some kind of Irish band. Uh, Probably Flogging Molly would be fun because I think they would just have some good songs to like. They kind of cheer you up, but they're also like perfect for a funeral too. So either them or AC/DC because you just got to play Highway to Hell as you're going down in the casket.
My dad passed away in October, and one of
Oh
the things
man.
I mentioned over when I was speaking on behalf of my dad to the people who were there, I was like, Dad, what would you like me to do? Well, when you pass, and he goes, I don't know, I'm going to be dead, so I won't even care. I was like, that's not what I want to hear.
Yep.
And I go, is there anything you want me to tell people, about your life, or you want me to any time? And go, tell them I was a mammal. I'm like, I don't think you're understanding what I'm here having a problem with here. So, but I think I simply want what my dad wanted when he passed. He goes, I don't want anybody crying. If they're crying because they're happy, not because they're sad.
Right.
If there's going to be a band playing, there's going to be lots of food and stuff like that. But I just wanted them to remember the good times. I want them to be laughing the whole time.
Oh yeah.
To just remember. So not only did they get over it, but they had a good time. And that's what I want to leave the planet with when I leave. That I want people to smile.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I knew the guy, and I'm happy I did.
Oh
That's why I would leave on this.
Well, and sadly, I have been at too many funerals in my short life, so I definitely understand the laughing at a funeral more. And I've been at some, and people look at you weird when you have a little group of people and you start cracking up. But that's when you tell the best stories of people. Remember that time that he,
Exactly.
ran streaking down you tell shit like that. And it's not just the sadness. Yeah, it sucks, but you got to remember all the good shit from people. And
Exactly.
there was
Exactly.
I got my Eagle Scout in Boy Scouts when I was 18, and they have a Eagle Scout Court of Honor for you. So it's like this big little party for you. It's almost like a graduation from Boy Scouts. And you actually have people, in certain ones, you have people that have worked with you through Scouts come up and talk about you. And I had mine and had a few people talk here and there. And I think it was my mom or it was somebody in my family. And they go, why don't we do this more? Because you get to talk about how good a person is, how awesome they are, build them up and everything. And they're not laying next to you dead in a casket. It's celebrating a person when they're actually still around, And that one's always kind of stuck with me ever since then.
Well, maybe we should do that when we get together. I think we should have a nice dinner, and then all of us just to get that feeling back. Everyone, one of us should say about the other person out there. So, and just to be on the quiet side, hopefully she's not watching. When Amelia comes up, I'm just going to sit there and go, yeah, and she looks nice. I just let her kill me, right?
Yeah, she'll have the claws out of nowhere. You remember she's like vampire, yeah. Right? So she'll just suck your blood right there. All right, so this is the perfect one. We'll do one more question.
That will be the way.
So I think this is the perfect question to end the show with. Again, big shout out to Pod Decks for the awesome decks. Who is your favorite hero of fiction?
The Doctor, of course.
I figured, like, out of the 50 cards I could pick, I'm like, really? That's the easiest question here. I figured.
Can I elaborate on that?
Of course.
Can I do it? Because that's what people ask me. It's just like, well, why is Doctor Who? Why not Star Trek, Star Wars, all these other places? When I grew up, everybody had either the comic book or the Saturday morning cartoon. It was either Transformers or the Smurfs or something or other. GoBots. We don't talk about the GoBot people anymore. But anyway, just they all had their geekdom. It was a comic book character. It was Batman. It was Superman. It was something like that. Me, it was a guy with floppy hair, a scarf, and a hat who went around in a blue box on PBS. And God forbid I talk to people about this, because it wasn't a thing you talked around the school. It's like, hey, did you watch Doctor Who? Good God. Talking about Doctor Who back then. Today, that's why I don't, appreciate the kids that you have Doctor Who and that you love it. Because if I had talked about Doctor Who in my school when I was growing up, I would have gotten, well, I did get my butt kicked, but I mean, it was just...
it would have been even more, damn it.
I would have had a fast pass to a whipping ass. There you go. Here was a character that didn't need strength. He had a funny wit about him. Mm-hmm. He would always, I always thought I was kind of like the cerebral, like the nerdy guy, because I was. And here's a character that didn't pick up a weapon, didn't use brute strength. He used his wits about him, and not only that, but it was Tom Baker was in the role, and he owned that role. And it's just funny that the way that he would talk to the bad guy. Not only would he, defeat them, but he would put it in their face. He would always have something witty, like Chop Suey, the Galactic Emperor, or something like something just really stupid and funny that it would just link up into your head that made him, as far as being a hero, better than all the heroes that I think. It just to me, though. Yeah. But I'm sure now with the kids growing up with Doctor Who, they're going to find it out. And I appreciate that Doctor Who came back, because the hero that I grew up with, that I geeked out with, that I didn't really have a chance to geek with other kids.
Right.
Other kids get that capability of doing that. And I get to be a part of what keeps that going. And I'm happy about that.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I've definitely tried Doctor Who a few times here and there. I've really liked... the snarkiness of them sometimes. That's what's drawn me in here and there. So I definitely can appreciate the character. I think with me, I've always liked more of the action fighting guys that uses their fists, like Bruce Lee and things of that nature. I think that's why I haven't been able to totally get sucked in. But I definitely have an appreciation of the character and the fandom, and you guys are doing an amazing job. And I hope you guys keep it up, and best wishes for all that. So please let everybody know where they can find your show, your Instagram, all that good stuff, so people can stalk you.
On the internet, please.
Yeah, totally on the internet.
Well, I don't know. It depends on who's stalking me. But if you go to exactly. If you go to facebook.com/the Traveling Tardis, I usually post everything up as soon as the episode drops. But you can just look up the Traveling Tardis, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm at practically everywhere you get a podcast, and on KryptonRadio.com. We put out episodes on the Facebook page as well. So if you want to see live feed, and also some of our episodes will be going live before they go to audio, like Colin Spall's this weekend. So you will actually get to chat with him alongside us and have questions. In fact, I just got confirmation Simon Fisher-Becker will be on the panel interviewing him with the rest of us.
Nice.
So that's going to be fun to watch one actor who walked in the series who knows Colin as well as very well interviewing with us, because it was just a fun time with Katie Manning and Tim Chertor. That was great.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for being on. Thank you for everybody listening and tuning in and all that. If you are listening to this through the audio, you can find all the Back Talk with Bauer and Back Talk with Friends on Facebook.com/JBauerart. I am debating about making a separate Facebook for the podcast, but that's even more work. But you can find everything of me, the artwork, the podcast, the graphic design, all that good shit at anywhere of JBauerart. Please subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Podcast Addict. I think that's all the ones I am on. And if you missed any of this as you're watching, or want to actually see our beautiful faces as we talk to each other, head over to the Hanging with Web show, the HWWS WebTV YouTube channel, and hit that subscribe button there. Check out my show, Legend of the Traveling Tardis, Kevin and Mia, Hanging with Web Show themselves, Thomas Rochester. It's just a plethora of people on there. You'll never be bored. Yeah. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you so much for the support. Make sure to tune in this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. It is going to be the debut episode of Back Talk with Friends. I'm going to have, if you saw CyberCon and you watched my super show of CyberCon, we're doing that again. So that'll be another hour to 2 hour of craziness. And we have no filter. There's no me being scared of Garrett yelling at me, because this is my thing. Oh, yeah. This is my thing. Not that he yelled at me anyways, because he just let us do whatever we want. But I don't have to worry about making anybody mad. It's going to be my show, and it's going to go on my YouTube channel. So I'm at least putting something up on there. But it's going to be totally rated R, totally crazy. And the crew that I had last time is returning. So I'm sure it'll just be as insane as last time. So again, thank you guys. Thank you, Christian. Stay.
Josh, before we wrap up, I want to go, because I want to do this for you. Could you give me the name? Just let everybody know the name of your brother's fundraiser. And I want, if you could do me a favor, for those of you watching this, send me the link. I'm going to post that on the Traveling Tardis.
Awesome.
So that people can contribute to that. So if you can repeat that one more time, just send me the link. I'll put it up there for you.
Yeah. So we're doing the sponsorship one of the month. It's a charity of the month, and it is Hope for the Warriors. And you can find that at hopeforthewarriors.org. Head over there. You can donate. You can also volunteer. So please go check it out. They have a really impressive website, and there's an easy button to hit there and donate. So please go do that. Maybe even put, like, if there's a way to say who it's from, maybe like Back Talk with Bauer, or you heard him from us. So please go check that out. But thank you, Christian. I appreciate you reminding me of that. Awesome, guys.
No problem. Thank you, Evelyn.
Of course.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, where's the end button? There it is. All right, later, guys.